know, those guys, I saw a lot of love on our football team last year. I saw a ton of it, and that's why I knew that we were on the right track in a lot of areas. Yes, we had to fix some things and get better, but from a program standpoint, I knew we had a lot of good things in place, a lot of things that were starting to take root from a program standpoint. But the biggest thing is you know, we've got outstanding leadership and great chemistry on our staff, and those are two things that they're intangibles, but you know, very underrated on football teams. And we've got just again excellent chemistry, and the leadership and the accountability on this team, the attention to detail is just way better than it was last year, and then we just got you know, better players. I mean, we got more weapons. We just didn't have certain things last year, and you know, we tried hard, but we got a whole different dimension to us this year that we didn't have last year. And when you have success, then it just kind of breeds that confidence. And so that's why it was important for us to get off to a good start this year. You know, because again, you've got a young team, and coming off a tough year. So you know, as these guys, they get that momentum rolling, it's a powerful thing. And it's also the other way. You know, when it gets rolling against you, it's hard that way too. You got to handle that adversity. But you know, that's the biggest difference right there. Is just the chemistry, the leadership, and the fact that we got a lot of really talented young players on this team that are winning games for us.
Talked about buying in from the outside of the program. You mentioned last year when you guys were struggling that maybe the vocal minority of the fans out there that were questioning you and didn't seem to be behind you. Do you feel now, for the first time since you became the head coach, that you really have everybody, to steal the phrase, all in?
I don't worry about that. I really don't. It's just like when, you know, I'm getting hate mail and telling me that I need to die, and everybody with the name Swinney needs to die. And, you know, all the media people are writing about how bad I am. It really is irrelevant. It really just makes zero difference to me. And even if they're saying positive things, because I just don't pay attention to it. I just really want to be, you know, I just want to be a guy that makes a difference in the players' lives. That's really the most important thing to me. I could care less what people say about me or, you know, or think about me. It's not why I do this. I really just want to make a difference in these guys' lives, and if I do that, people say whatever they want to do, whatever they want to say. That's really it.
Dabo, a minute ago on Rick's question, I'm not sure if I heard it right or if you put two different thoughts together. You said this year you've got great leadership and chemistry on our staff.
Mm-hmm.
Something that wasn't there last year on the coaching staff.
I didn't think we had quite the chemistry that we have this year. And again, that's my fault. Ain't nobody's fault but mine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's my job to make sure that we have the right kind of morale and you know, the right things in place. And I think, you know, if you want to know a difference in our team, I mean, listen, I mean, we're more talented. We've recruited very well, and I just think that we've got a great chemistry with our players and with our staff. Mm-hmm. Staff to players, all those things.
Is it the kind of thing on the staff, with whatever the chemistry is, that you can see it now more clearly than you could last year, say in the middle of the season? I mean, I'm guessing you weren't thinking, boy, we don't have very good chemistry.
No. And I'm not. And we didn't have bad chemistry last year. It wasn't bad. We didn't have negativity or things like that. I mean, listen, we had a good staff. We had good people. It's the same staff that won the division the year before. That's not it at all. But you know, we just my job to you know, fix us. And I just felt like that when the season was over, and that's what you do every year. You evaluate, not while you're in the middle of it. While you're in the middle of something, you compete and you battle, and you everybody's, you know, together. But when it's all said and done, good or bad, you know, you sit down and you evaluate everything from a program standpoint, and then you know, you either keep moving forward, or you tweak, you make some changes, whatever it is. And that's in business, that's in football, and everything.
Marion Hockey seems to be making a difference this year.
Marion?
Yeah.
Oh, he's tremendous. I mean, he's you know, and Chris did a great job. He was a heck of a coach. He's doing a great job at Alabama. But, you know, you got a chance to get a guy like Marion Hobby to come in here, and I'm thankful to Terry Don for helping me get him. Because obviously he's the defensive coordinator in this league. He is outstanding. You know, I got 3 guys in that room that have been defensive coordinators, and you know, there's just a great staff chemistry in there, and you know, Kevin does a great job, but Marion is a really good teacher and a good recruiter, and just what you want in a football coach.
But not comparing him to Chris Rumpf, but what are the kind of specifics of Marion Hobby that's kind of key for us that are showing up?
Well, he's a great teacher, technical teacher of the position. You know, he's a big technique guy. He's got a great background from an NFL standpoint, both as a player and as a coach, that I think translates well to these players. He's very tough. I mean, he is tough, hard-nosed football coach. No nonsense kind of guy. Shows up every day with the same demeanor, very consistent. You know, really knows how to you know, get the most out of his guys, and he's an outstanding recruiter as well. He's already, you know, made a difference for us in that regard. You know, just a great person, great wife, daughters, and whole deal. He's made a difference in a lot of ways.
You've mentioned a couple of times about the
Plus, he's from Alabama. I really like him. Birmingham boy.
You talked a couple of times about the importance of sort of tuning out the external noise, whether it's positive or negative. How difficult or easy is that for a team to sort of not be influenced by things that are outside of their circle?
Well, I think it's a challenge in the world we live in. It's a real challenge. It used to not be as bad because a lot of players, you know, probably didn't pick up a newspaper. If you didn't pick up a newspaper, you didn't hear it unless your mama called you and told you something. It really is a challenge in this day and age because they're social people. They're savvy in that regard, from Twitter to internet to, you know, Facebook, you know, all that kind of stuff. And they're just so much more accessible than they used to be. So it's a challenge, you know, but it's something that I think that you know, we've done a good job with as a team and as a staff. And you know, we've had to really work hard since last January to get them to not listen to the negative. You know, the coaches stink, this is going to happen, doomsday, and all these things. And we've had to get them to block all of that out so that we can do our jobs. And what they've bought into is what we were talking about earlier, and that is, you know, listen, if we're going to change Clemson, the outside is irrelevant. We got to do it from the inside. It's us. And if we will buy into these things and be about the right things and stay focused on this process, here's the standard, here's the commitment it's going to take, here's the work ethic it's going to take, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If we'll be about those things, then we will change Clemson. And so the only way that's going to happen is that you don't listen to what they say. Okay? We know what's going on. We're here every day. All right? And so that's been a message that we've had to really, really talk to these guys about since last January. Because you have a bad season at Clemson like we had, and changes and things like that, and there's going to be a lot of negativity that just comes with it. And it's a challenge for young people. You know, it's not that big a deal for me, just because I've been through it, seen it, all sides, good and bad. And so you just expect it, and you learn how to handle adversity along the way. But young people are still growing and learning in that area. So that's where I think our team has been incredible. They've done a great job. And that's a big reason why we were able to sign a great recruiting class. You know, because, you know, that class was pretty much signed. And you got changes, you got all these things going on, but our players continued to listen to the right things, be about the right things, and that carried over into our all-season program, into spring practice all summer long. I mean, people write me nice things about Clemson. They ain't heard anything nice about Clemson. All spring, all summer, all camp, nobody had anything nice to say about Clemson. Our players have done a great job blocking that out and buying into the right things and listening to the right things. So just like that process is important, it's the same thing. And I've said this a couple of now when people patting you on the back and this and how great you are, all that, and our players have seen a little bit of both. You know, we got a lot of guys on this team that, you know, won a division and played for a championship 2 years ago, and then they saw the other extreme last year. So that was a great teaching process for our team. And I think that's why our leadership is so good this year, because they've got a good feel for the big picture. And they've done a good job with our young players. And you know, again, is it tough? Is it a challenge? Absolutely. But you know, it's just something that we have to talk about a lot. And then, listen, all that stuff is irrelevant. Here's why we're 5-0. Just stay focused on your preparation. Don't worry about outcomes, results, all that stuff. Here's the preparation. This is what we do on Monday. This is what we do on Tuesday. And then we just go play on Saturday. And you know, we may get beat somewhere along the line. And if that's the case, then hopefully they just beat us because they're a better team, not because we weren't focused or something like that. That would be a shame, and I don't see that coming with this football team.
Dabo, you said in August this could be a work in progress early. I'm guessing that was because of all the young guys you were dependent on. Has there been anything or anybody that exceeded your expectations relative to the sort of what you were thinking back then?
Yeah. Well, I think that's proved to be true. We found a way to win, but we're pretty much a work in progress, and we still are. Our defense is getting better. We weren't very good first 2 or 3 weeks, but we're improving. You know, offensively, we started off slow, then we got it going. We you know, didn't play very well the other night, so we got a lot of things that we're continuing to improve on. But you know, I felt like Taj was going to really play well. I really did. But I don't know if I expected him to be quite where he's at right now. He'd be one that I would think. I mean, he has been outstanding. Really, really proud of him. You know, Sammy Watkins, I really expected to be great, and he's been great. But I think that a guy like Corey Crawford is a guy that you know, even though he may be statistically isn't flashy right now, really, really excited about him and his future. Tig Willard is a guy, you know, and there's a guy that, you know, Tig's a great example to a lot of players. First of all, he redshirts. He doesn't play much as a redshirt freshman. He plays a little bit last year, gets hurt, and you know, now it's just like the lights come on for this guy. And, you know, so we got a lot of guys that have stepped up in a lot of ways. Brandon Thomas, the way he's played the last couple of weeks is really, really a positive for us. And as far as being a work in progress, guys that we needed to get better. Philip Price, he's been outstanding. You know, I don't know if anybody had anything kind to say about Philip Price. You know, especially when there was a talk that he might be our starting left tackle, and the boy's done pretty good. So you know, all those things have had to kind of come together, and you know, and the guys have just, they've taken pride in their performance in a lot of areas. But you know, we got several guys that are still a work in progress. Some of those young defensive tackles, and we've been in some really tough battles here the last couple of weeks, which you know wasn't a lot of room for some rookies, you know, to kind of expose them to. But hopefully over these next 7 games, we're going to continue to grow up some of those guys inside. I really like them. I think we got some really good players. But fortunately, we've been able to stay healthy, and you know, and even though you don't see them quite as much on game day, they're getting better every week, and they're learning. They're learning how to game plan. They're learning from the film. They're learning from, you know, Brandon and Rennie and those type of guys.